This is the Kamvas Slate 10 by Huion. It's the company's first attempt at an Android drawing tablet, and while the specs and the price look pretty good, let's talk about why you should probably give this one a miss. Hey, Ryan here. So you're probably looking to get a decent standalone tablet, something that you can take out on the go with you and get your start in digital drawing and painting. At first glance, the Kamvas Slate 10 looks like a good option. Huion is, after all, in the business of making drawing tablets, and good ones at that. But this one, while affordable, aimed at a younger user, in my opinion, it just doesn't quite surpass the value and performance of something like the Galaxy Tab S6 Lite. But that doesn't mean it's not an option at all. There are just some things to be aware of. But before we get into it, just to let you know, this video is not sponsored. Huion didn't send me this tablet to review. I'm quite interested in standalone devices, so I went and purchased one for myself to see what they cooked up. Now, what's inside the box? There is, of course, the tablet, this folding case, a battery-powered stylus, which we'll be talking about in a moment, a USB-A to USB-C charging cable, a charging block, SIM ejector, one spare pen nib, quick start guide warranty, that kind of thing, and that's it. Looking a little closer at the tablet, it's quite a bit heavier than I expected. This is 575 grams, 800 if you include the case. That's heavier than the Galaxy Tab S6 Lite by about 100 grams, and it's also a bit heavier than the Tab S9 FE. Not a big deal, I was just surprised. It has this sort of brushed metal back with the Huion logo in the center. There's a camera bump in one corner. It's got a 13 megapixel camera. On the front, along the long side, you've got a 5 megapixel camera. There's a port for 3.5mm audio, and along one of the short sides, you've got the volume buttons and power button, and on the other side, a USB-C port for charging. This is USB-C 2.0. The display is 10.1 inches with a resolution of 1920 by 1200. It's an LCD display, pretty standard specs for something of this price. Not going to get the widest color range or accuracy. It's not going to have that really strong contrast or brightness for using outside. Indoors though, totally fine. The case that it comes with is pretty standard. You can set it at different angles, one for drawing, one more for watching videos perhaps. It's not the most sturdy case, it kind of collapses a bit while drawing, but it definitely adds a layer of protection. This flap has little magnets in it for keeping the case closed, and when you open it, you have the pen that fits in this slot over here. Now the pen is battery powered, it charges by USB-C. Not a big fan of this, but perhaps that's just because I'm used to either the S Pen that doesn't need charging on the Tab S9 FE, or the Apple Pencil 2, which I just snapped to the side of the tablet. There are two buttons along the side. These will be programmable in different apps, which is quite nice. When the battery runs low, there's a little red flashing light between the buttons to indicate that it's time to plug in and charge. This has just over 4,000 levels of pressure sensitivity, which is plenty. You can get quite light lines with this. The initial activation isn't all that bad. Going from light to thick lines is pretty smooth. Going the other way around, though, I did notice some more dramatic jumps in pressure. It was a bit more difficult to control. It does have tilt, but it seems like tilt only really worked in certain directions. But that's fine, you can work with it. Now I have some issues with the pen. This is not Huion's standard pen tech that's appearing in their newer tablets, and one of the things that has really stood out about Huion, the drawing experience with their newer pens is fantastic. This instead is a more widely compatible USI 2.0 stylus. That's Universal Stylus Initiative. There's quite a range of tablets that support this, and that includes some Chromebooks. But that means that the pen is not specifically tailored to this, and the result is that you don't really get the best line quality. The pen nib is hard plastic. Personally, I don't like the lack of friction drawing with plastic on glass, but you can get a matte screen protector from the website to improve that for an extra $10. So when it comes to various drawing apps, drawing lines wasn't particularly good. There's a lot of wobble that appears. So if you're trying to do really neat line art, you might have a few issues. But to a degree, in some apps you can knock this out by bumping up the smoothing or the stabilization. This can affect the performance of the app though, and on an entry-level device like this, it's a bit of a difficult juggle. Now I had some issues with crashes in both Infinite Painter and Chrome while drawing in Magma, and on some occasions the pen also didn't seem to register for a moment. I had to try repeating my lines a few times. Okay, so neat line drawing, not so great. But that's not going to be an issue for everybody. For more casual doodlers, it might not matter that there's a bit of wave in your lines. It's just for fun drawing. It's not for making art that you can sell or stickers that you're going to print or that kind of thing. But what about those who don't work in line? What about painters who are working with broader strokes, with shapes of color? Well, painting was a little bit better, but you had to be mindful of the size of your brush and the size of your canvas. Making canvases too big, I found that performance really took a dip. But if you're working at about full HD, 1920 by 1080, that was alright. One of the nice things with the pen is that it does have hover, so with apps that show you your brush cursor on hover, you could kind of predict what your brush was going to do before you brought it down to the canvas. That's always a nice thing to have. Painting on a 10.1 inch display though can feel quite cramped depending on the app that you're using. When it comes to choosing the right app, there are a few great options that are well designed for smaller displays. Things like Infinite Painter, Artflow, both of which you can hide your entire UI while you're busy drawing, or even Clip Studio Paint with their slimmed down simple mode. That was quite nice to use actually. One challenging thing was trying to have reference and the painting up on the same screen. I tried having reference open to the side in split screen mode. It doesn't work. Well, it does work, but it's really cramped. It's difficult to paint like that. But there are some apps that have an integrated reference window feature where you can scale the reference down and have it floating anywhere on the screen. So yeah, while the specs might look better on this than the old 2020 Galaxy Tab S6 Lite that I reviewed previously, this for me doesn't feel as snappy. It doesn't seem to have as reliable performance. Maybe this is a hardware thing, maybe it's a software thing, I'm not altogether sure. Again, this is an entry-level device, you're probably not looking to make really high-res, highly detailed masterpieces with it. But it's fine for simple jobs. I would think of this more as a digital sketchbook. It's also fine for note-taking, or even perhaps using as a small extra screen for your laptop. All that said, I was still able to do some silly drawings and some small studies. So to wrap up, what do I think? I think it's usable. I think for a youngster, it's fine. But I do think the Galaxy Tab is going to give you much better value for money, much more reliable performance, and actually sometimes you can get it for quite a bit cheaper than the Kamvas Slate. So I think this was maybe a bit of a rushed decision from Huion. It doesn't seem very well thought out, but I really hope that they take another stab at this. Next time, I'd love to see them include their newer pen technology, something that's tailored to the device, to something that shows that they're really thinking about the needs of their market, the needs of artists, by including features that make it stand out from just regular Android tablets out there from various other brands that aren't specifically targeted at artists. There is another recently released device though from another brand that is demonstrating this much better, and that is the XP Pen Magic Drawing Pad, which I have right over here. I'll be doing a review of it soon, so if you want to see that, hit that subscribe thing, stay tuned, and until then, happy drawing, go paint something. Ciao!